Scaredy Cat Stories presents a quiet drive, a cold night, and company that you didn't ask for. This one is called The Hitchhiker. It was midnight, and I was halfway down the B road to nowhere. I'd just finished working my late shift at the hospice. I was knackered, my eyes were stinging, I was craving a cuppa and my bed. The rain was coming down sideways, the kind that rattles the windscreen and makes the wipers completely pointless. You know those quiet stretches of road in the middle of nowhere, with no lights, no signals, just hedgerows and bad decisions? That's where I was, somewhere between Swindon and Sodall. And that's when I saw her. A figure, right by the edge of the road. Thumb out, no coat, soaked to the skin. She looked about 20, maybe less. I should have driven on. Anyone with half a brain would have done. But something about her, the way she stood, like she'd been waiting just for me, specifically for me. And so, I slowed the car, and I rolled the window down just an inch. "All right," I called. "Are you okay?" She leaned in towards me, her hair plastered to her face, and she said, "Please, I just need to get to Ashcombe." Ashcombe's not far, 10 minutes maybe, I thought. So, I unlocked the door, and I asked her to get in. She got in, without a word, just sat there, in the passenger seat beside me, staring straight ahead. Her hands were folded neatly in her lap. There was no thank you, no shiver, just an eerie silence. I tried making conversation. "Bloody awful night, isn't it?" I said. Nothing. "Not the best time to be out walking," I said, trying again. Still. Nothing. Just silence. And then she turned. Her eyes locked on mine, and she said, "It wasn't meant to rain." We drove on. The inside of the car somehow felt colder, like I'd turned off the heater, which I hadn't. I looked down at her hands. No phone, no rings, just pale, like marble, like she hadn't seen sunlight in years. Then I noticed her feet. They were bare. She wore no shoes, no socks, just muddy, scratched up feet, tucked under the seat like it was nothing. I was confused, but I didn't say a word. We just carried on driving, in silence. And the longer I drove, the more uneasy I felt by her presence. Eventually, we passed the old petrol station, the one that's been boarded up since the fire. And I swear, as we did, she tensed up. I felt it. The car, the atmosphere changed. And then she spoke. "He left me there," she said. "He picked me up, said he'd take me to Ashcombe, stopped for petrol, and then he dragged me out of the car." My grip tightened on the wheel. The rain was still hammering the glass. I'm sorry," I said. That's awful." She looked at me again, and she said, I remember his eyes. They were pale, like boiled eggs. I remember the sound my head made when he hit me. At this point, I pulled over, not because I didn't believe her, but because I didn't know what else to do. I turned to her. "Are you saying someone attacked you?" I asked. She blinked and then smiled, a tiny, fragile smile, and she said, "Not anymore." And then, as I was looking at her, right in front of my eyes, I noticed she was fading, melting into the darkness, dissolving into the night. And just like that, she was gone. Not opened the door and got out gone, just gone. The passenger seat was empty. No sound, no trace. Just a damp patch on the seat and the faint smell of wet earth. I sat there for ages, trying to breathe, trying to think, as the rain continued to pelt the glass of the car and the roof. Eventually I drove on. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? But I couldn't help myself. Out of curiosity, I did look it up. Abigail Morris. She went missing near Ashcombe 30 years ago. Last seen? At that petrol station. Her body was found weeks later. Barefoot. Head trauma. Cold case. Every year since, people say they see her on that road, always in the rain, always barefoot, just trying to get home. Not every ghost wants revenge. Some just want a lift. Thanks for listening to Scaredy Cat Stories. Sleep tight and drive safe.